Alright, ladies and gents, Vital Buns here. I hope you all are well, and welcome back to another video regarding the Limit Over collection for Yu-Gi-Oh! So, in the first video I made regarding this collection, I covered the retrains of all of the protagonist aces for the hero set of the Limit Over collection. And today, in this video, we will be covering the rival ace retrains for the Limit Over collection, the Rivals set. And yeah, let's go ahead and begin covering the retrains of the aces for the rivals and see what they can do. So first off, of course, we will be starting with the retrain of Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is of course the ace of Seokaiba. The retrain is called Blue Eyes White Dragon, the White Phantom Beast. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a reference, but I like the name anyway. Obviously, you know, light attribute dragon type monster, level 8, 3000 attack, 1200 defense, you know the original stats, obviously. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Number 1, when this card is added from the deck to your hand, or your monster is destroyed in battle, you can reveal this card in your hand, special summon it. Okay, that's similar to Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, where if a card gets destroyed, you can reveal Jet in your hand and then special summon it. That's basically the same thing with this card. So that's going to be interesting for the Blue Eyes deck as a whole, really. But yeah, be interesting. Number 2, if this card is special summoned from the hand or deck, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Also, you can only attack directly with Blue Eyes monsters this turn. Okay, that's basically just a pseudo Raigeki, but it restricts your direct attacks to just Blue Eyes only. But to be fair, obviously you're running this in a Blue Eyes deck, so that won't really matter too much. Number 3, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, quick effect, you can discard one card, negate that effect. Okay, that's gonna be interesting, because the effects of this card basically all just correlate well with each other, so to speak. It's just, of course, with the first and second effect being limited to once per turn, you can't exactly just spam this, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to be careful when you bring out this card. So, but yeah, no, this definitely sounds like a good card for the Blue Eyes deck, and yeah, let's move on to the next ace. So next up, we have the ace retrain of the ace of Zane Truesdale, aka Ryo Marufuji, which is of course Cyber End Dragon. And let's see, the retrain is called Cyber End Dragon, the Decisive Strike Dragon. Okay, I like the name. Same type, yeah, same attribute, type, level, attack stat, and defense stat as the original Cyber End Dragon, and obviously it's called as a fusion monster. Future materials, 3 machine monsters with 2100 or more attack, which makes sense anyway, because every time Cyber End Dragon was summoned in the anime, it always was with just 3 Cyber Dragons. Because obviously, with the original Cyber End, you actually have to use 3 Cyber Dragons to summon it. So, there you go. Must be fusion summoned, you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. Number 1, if this card's fusion summoned using only light monsters, which in a Cyber Dragon deck, you're basically going to get that all the time, you could pay 4,000 life points, add 1 limit of removal from your deck to your hand. Okay, I think I know a reference to this actually. I believe this is a reference to a combo that Zane did in the graduation match against Jaden, where he fusion summoned Cyber End Dragon with a combination of Power Bond and Cybernetic Fusion support, which obviously then summoned Cyber End Dragon, then obviously doubled its attack to 8,000, but then right after, he actually played Limit of Removal to double its attack points again to 16,000. This is crazy. Number 2, if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage, that's an original effect of Cyber End Dragon, so fair enough. Number 3, this card whose current attack is higher than its original attack can make a second and third attack during each battle phase. Honestly, that is crazy, but it does make sense with Zane because he always summoned. Well, most of the time he played like during the earlier parts of GX. Obviously, he at least had Cyber Dragon have more than 4,000 attack, although it's not always. But yeah. it's a nice card. I have no issues with this whatsoever. All right, next up we have, funny enough, the card that's basically meant to be like, representing Jack Atlas, but this card actually uh actually has a bit of a twist. It has all the Signer Dragons on its art. And obviously the reason for it is because the card is called Crimson Dragon Quetzalcoatl. Feel free to let me know in the comments if I pronounced that correctly. It's a Dark Dragon Synchro Monster, level 12, 0 attack and defense. 1 tuner plus 1 and 1 non-tuner monsters, so normal like synchro material. You can only use this card, this card names, this card's first and third effects once per turn each. Number 1, if this card is synchro summon, you can special summon as many dragon synchro monsters from your grave as possible. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. Okay, so this will work well with basically just any deck that relies on dragon synchros, as long as you're able to get this out. And funny enough, this really does work well for Red Dragon Archfiend, because obviously most of the main extra deck that's involved with Red Dragon Archfiend are all dragons, so this would work for Red Dragon Archfiend, to be fair. Number 2, gains attack equal to the total original attack of all of the synchro monsters you control. Oh my god, that's actually just gonna be crazy for Red Dragon Archfiend right there. Well, for the Red Dragon Archfiend deck. Number 3, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can return one other Dragon Synchro monster you control to the extra deck, and if you do, negate that activation. Okay, so I like the fact that this is actually a card that's basically meant to represent all the signers, but you know that they wanted this to work well for the Red Dragon Archfiend deck, but I'm fine with it actually just involving all the signer dragons. So I have no complaints with this one. It definitely sounds like a really good card. I'm curious to see how well it will do. Alright, so next up we have a retrain of one of the main monsters of Kite Tenjo, which, funny enough, I'm surprised they went with this card, but I'm fine with it anyway. They chose Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon to gain the retrain. And so the retrain is called Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, Photon Howling. If I remember correctly, actually, this is a reference. Photon Howling is the effect name of Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, I do like the name. Live attribute dragon, obviously Xyz monster, rank A, same attack and defense stat as the original Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, 3 level 8 monsters, okay. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, Photon Howling, by using 1 rank A Xyz monster you control. Transfer its materials to this card. Okay, that's good, because you could basically just go from any Galaxy-Eyes Xyz into this card, which will work out for the card anyway, because obviously it would need materials. Number 1, effect 1, if this card is Xyz summoned, you can take 1 photon monster from your deck and either special summon it in defense position or attach it to this card as material. Okay, that's very helpful, because if you basically just, like, if you went in with a different rank A, went into this card with basically like 1 or 2 overlay units, you can use this card's first effect upon summoning to give it another overlay unit by searching the photon monster from your deck and having the choice of either special summoning it or attach it to this card as an overlay unit. So I like it. Alright, number 2, quick effect. You can attach 3 materials on this card, tribute 1 other Xyz monster, and if you do, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. Okay, that's an interesting effect, but the one downside is the fact that if it will affect your cards as well. So with this effect, you'll have to be really careful with that if you're playing Galaxy-Eyes. So basically, it sounds like the ideal situation you want for this card would be you were going to a rank 8 Xyz in the, well, let's use the Galaxy-Eyes deck for example. You would just go into one of the other Galaxy-Eyes Xyz monsters, then summon this card via the by using the rank 8, and then basically give this card as many overlay units as possible to use the second effect, and make sure that this card, which is obviously Neo Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon, Photon Howling, it's the only card on your field. Otherwise, you're basically just gonna lose the effects of every other card on your field until the turns end. But if you're okay with that, that's completely up to you. But yeah, I like this card. No complaints from me. Oh, words. Sorry. I really did like Neo Galaxy's Photo Dragon as an Xyz monster. I felt like a lot of people like kind of underlooked this card, so I really do like this one, and I have no complaints at all. Okay, so the next card that we actually will be reading the retrain for is, funny enough, a retrain of Starving Venom. Let me explain at the end why I actually found this interesting. So the retrain is called Starving Venom Fusion Dragon of the Four Heavenly Dragons. Fair enough. It's because if you don't remember, or if you watched the last video I did, which was covering the hero cards, the name of the retrain for Odd Eyes is actually called Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon of the Four Heavenly Dragons. And in case you didn't know, the four like Heavenly Dragons thing basically just references how in Arc 5 the main four dragons were Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Clearwing Synchro Dragon, and Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. So I imagine they're just trying to keep this as a theme because of that. I'm not really sure, but you're welcome to let me know in the comments what you think. So yeah, Dark Attribute Dragon type monster. Obviously, it's a fusion, same level, attack stat and defense stat as the original Starving Venom. Fusion materials, 2 dark monsters on the field. Okay, I believe that's the same materials as the original Starving Venom. This card is always treated as a Predaplant card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Number 1, if this card is special summoned, you can target one of a face-up monster on the field, change its attack to 0, negate its effects. Also, its attribute becomes dark. Okay, this works well with the Predaplant deck because all the Predaplant cards are actually dark attribute monsters. So this will work well for the fusion, well, the Predaplant fusions plus Starving Venom anyway. Number 2, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can fusion summon one dark fusion monster from your extra deck, which obviously, like I said, applies to all the Predaplant fusions plus Starving Venom, using dark monsters on the field, including this card. Okay, this definitely works well for the Predaplant deck. I can understand why they chose this card, because let me explain why I found this an interesting choice. Obviously, as we all know, in Arc 5, Yu-Gi-Oh's main rival was Akuba Reiji. And obviously, you know, because they made retrains of all the aces of the rivals as well, we all thought that one of Reiji's aces was actually going to get a retrain. But I think the reason why they decided to choose Starving Venom instead of, the retrain of Starving Venom, which is Yuri's ace, instead of an Akuba Reiji card, was because at the same time these cards were being announced, which was a Jump Festa, they also had a panel explaining the new Predaplant support, and the panel actually had Yuri's Japanese voice actor as well. So I imagine they wanted to make this card to help boost the Predaplant deck alongside the newer support for that deck specifically. But I do feel like a lot of people would have definitely enjoyed the choice of Akuba Reiji getting one of his aces a retrain. But apparently Konami decided to choose Starving Venom instead. But I would have been fine with either one. So I'll take this regardless. But I do feel like either one would have likely, you know, worked well for anyone. But I imagine a lot of people would have wanted one of Akuba Reiji's aces to get a retrain instead. So there we go. Let's move on to the last one. Alright, so finally, the final card we will be covering the retrain for is, of course, the ace of Revolver / Varus from Vrains, and his ace was, of course, Borreload Dragon. So the retrain is called Borreload Liberator Dragon. I'm not sure why it's called that, but it is apparently. Feel free to let me know in the comments why you think they decided to name the retrain Borreload Liberator Dragon. But anyway, obviously Dark Attribute Dragon type monster, which is a link monster, and obviously it's a link monster. 3000 attack, which is the original attack stat Borreload. Link 4, same link number. arrows point left, right, bottom left, bottom right, which is the original arrows for Borreload Dragon. Summary conditions: 3 or more effect monsters, which was the same as the original Borreload, I believe. Let's see. You can only special summon Borreload Liberator Dragon, or dragons, if you have more than one, once per turn. Effect 1. Once per turn during the battle phase, quick effect, you can place one monster your opponent controls in a zone this card points to and take control of it. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So this is basically a better version of the original Borreload's last effect, which was basically like being able to take control of one of your opponent's monsters and placing it on your field, obviously. But this one works out better because not only can it be used during the battle phase, it's actually a quick effect, and your opponent cannot do anything to stop it. It's basically just a better. It's like I said, it's basically just a better version of that effect. But you're welcome to let me know in the comments if you think this is a better version of the effect compared to the original Borreload. Number 2, once per chain. Interesting. If this card's in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target one monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. Okay, that's interesting because obviously, as you know, the Rocket deck, which is the main deck, which is the deck that Revolver/Varus uses, they all have effects based upon being targeted or destroyed by monster effects or card effects in general. So, as a result, it's interesting that they chose to give this card a similar effect, where you can select a monster on your field, destroy it, and then resummon this card from your graveyard. And then, obviously, with the deck, if you destroy the Rocket monster, not only would you get this card back because of its own effect, you would actually then gain another monster summoned to your field via the certain Rocket Dragon you destroy to use this card's effect. So yeah, I definitely feel like this will work well for the Rocket deck, really. And yeah, I actually have no complaints about this one. Okay, so with that covers all of the retrains for the rival aces that will be involved in the Limit Over collection. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I have no issues with the cards whatsoever, although I do feel like some of the choices might likely stir up a lot of people to feel annoyed and whatnot. Because obviously, you know, for GX, they could have chosen either Zane or Chaz. And I feel like Chaz would have been an interesting choice because it would have meant either more Armed Dragon support or more Ojama support. But obviously, they clearly viewed Zane as more of a rival to Judai than Chaz. Although in my opinion, they both definitely are rivals to Jaden regardless. And then, obviously, I imagine some people will probably find the choice for Arc 5 a bit weird because, obviously, it's like I said earlier in the vid, Akuba Reiji definitely felt more like a rival to Yuya than Yuri did because, to be fair, Yuya and Yuri only dueled once in the series. So, I imagine a lot of people were expecting Akuba Reiji to get a retrain for one of his aces, but I imagine the reason why they chose Yuri for that is mainly just to help boost the Predaplan deck, because at the same time that the rival cards got announced, but the Limit Over collection got announced in general, they also had the panel for involving the new Predaplan support, so that's probably why that one happened, but otherwise I have no complaints about any of the cards overall. Anyways, yeah, hope you enjoyed, thank you for watching, and yeah, take care.